Okay, so you're really interested in this whole covenant confidence thing
Yeah.
that Elder Soares talks about,
Um,
especially from his April 2024 conference talk.
yes.
And we're using that as our jumping off point for this deep dive.
Okay.
Um, to me, the phrase just sounds powerful, but what's the actual meaning behind it?
It is powerful, especially within like the Latter-day Saint framework.
Yeah.
It's not just believing, it's that deeper, assurance
Yeah.
that comes from the covenants we make with God.
Okay.
And Elder Soares really emphasizes how that confidence is rooted in Christ.
Okay.
It's covenant confidence through Jesus Christ. He
Yeah.
keeps
He
it.
does repeat that a lot, which
Yeah.
makes me think it's important.
Right.
And he connects it to temple worship quite a bit, right?
Yes.
That's where this confidence really becomes tangible.
Absolutely. Yeah. He even points out how each temple has holiness to the Lord inscribed on it,
Yes.
which got me thinking.
Yeah.
In the LDS faith, holiness isn't just about being perfect.
Right.
It's about becoming more like Christ through the covenants we make.
Right.
So the temple becomes this tangible,
Representation.
representation, of that journey.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not just a building, but a place where we make promises that change us
Right.
from the inside out. And those
Right.
promises, those covenants,
Yeah.
give us a different perspective even when life gets tough.
Yeah.
Which Elder Soares acknowledges, by the way.
Yeah.
He even quotes Hebrews, "Cast not away, therefore, your confidence."
Right.
Almost like a little pep talk for all of us.
Yeah. It is. He's basically saying this kind of confidence isn't just like some abstract idea.
Yeah.
It's meant for the real world,
Right.
for when things get hard.
Right.
Like think about Nephi.
Oh, good example.
Right.
Gonna get the plates.
Right.
Talk about facing challenges head on.
Exactly. Opposition, doubt from his brothers, danger.
Yeah.
But he never lost sight of what the Lord had promised him.
Right.
He held on to that covenant confidence.
Yeah.
And it gave him the strength to persevere.
That's inspiring and all,
Yeah.
but it's easy to think, oh, I'm no Nephi.
Right.
So how can we cultivate that same kind of unshakable confidence in our own lives? Is there like a step-by-step guide?
Well, Elder Soares definitely lays out like a path. He talks about centering our lives on Christ, really living the gospel,
Okay.
not just going through the motions.
Okay.
And then, of course, the temple comes into play big time.
Because it's not enough to just receive ordinances
Right.
like baptism or temple blessings, right?
Right.
It's about what we do with those covenants afterward.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
He emphasizes the importance of honoring those covenants,
Okay.
making them an active part of our lives.
Yes.
And that doesn't start when you turn 18 or get married.
Right.
Preparation is key.
Okay.
I loved that story he shared about the bishop who calls his oldest primary class his temple preparation class.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
That's amazing. What does he even do with them?
He spends the whole year getting them ready, talking about the covenants they'll make, what it means to be worthy to enter the temple, even like going over the temple recommend questions.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
With like little kids.
Yeah. Which, by the way, are a series of questions you answer
Right.
to assess your worthiness to enter the temple.
Right.
He goes over those with them.
Wow.
Right.
So it's like planting those seeds early on,
Yes.
helping kids understand that the temple isn't some far-off event,
Right.
but part of a lifelong journey.
Exactly. And he doesn't shy away from the more complex aspects either.
Okay.
He explains that being temple worthy isn't just about checking boxes.
Yeah.
It's about aligning your life with the covenants you make.
So it's about carrying that temple spirit out into the world with us.
He actually uses the phrase temple bound, which I found interesting.
Because it has multiple layers to it, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about physically going to the temple,
Right.
but being bound to those covenants, letting them shape our choices.
Yes. And he's actually quoting President Nelson here,
Okay.
who describes being temple bound as making the temple the center of our spiritual strength,
Okay.
the anchor of our lives.
It's like being duty-bound or honor-bound.
Yeah.
It's a commitment that runs deeper than just showing up every now and then.
Exactly. It's about letting those covenants influence our everyday lives,
Okay.
even when it's hard.
Which, let's be real, is a lot of the time.
Right.
So how does that actually look in practice?
Right.
How does covenant confidence help us deal with real-life challenges?
Well, Elder Soares gives this really moving example. He talks about how his wife was at the temple and saw this group of people,
Okay.
each with their own physical challenges.
Okay.
One person in a wheelchair, another using a cane, even someone with only one arm.
Wow.
And they were all there
Yeah.
making the effort to attend the temple.
Wow, that really hits home.
Right.
It's easy to say, I'll go to the temple when things are less hectic
Right.
or when I have more time.
Right.
But that image, that's commitment.
Right. It would have been so easy for those individuals to say, it's too hard, or maybe another day.
Yeah.
But they showed up.
Right.
Their covenant confidence, their belief in the power of those ordinances motivated them to be there.
And it makes you think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the point.
Right?
It's not that having covenant confidence means our lives are perfect or easy,
Right.
but that we have something firm to hold on to during the challenges.
Right.
It's a source of strength, not an absence of difficulty.
Exactly. And think about the example that sets.
Yeah.
Not just for us, but for future generations.
Right.
He actually says, passing on this legacy of faith,
Okay.
this ability to draw on covenant confidence, even when things are tough,
Yeah.
might be one of the most powerful gifts we can give our children.
That makes me think about how we talk about the temple with kids.
Yeah.
It's not just a place you go when you turn 18
Right.
or before a mission. It's part of a lifelong process of discipleship.
Yes.
It's about weaving these principles into the fabric of their lives from a young age.
And he gives a great example of this.
Okay.
Remember that story we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
About the bishop who has a temple preparation class?
Oh, yeah. With the primary kids.
Yes.
What does he do? Like, give them mock temple recommend interviews?
Yeah, he actually does. He spends the entire year preparing them for the temple.
Wow.
They talk about the covenants they'll make, what it means to be worthy to enter the temple, even what to expect.
I love that proactive approach.
Yeah.
And it subtly reinforces that temple worthiness isn't just about a checklist.
Right.
It's about consistently striving to live in alignment with those covenants,
Yeah.
even before we're old enough to enter the temple.
Yes. And that's a huge part of building that covenant confidence.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing process of becoming, not just checking boxes.
So less about outward actions, more about an inward transformation.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about being temple-bound, as Soares puts it.
Yeah.
And he's not just talking about geographically.
Right.
Remember, he's quoting President Nelson here, who explains that being temple-bound is about making the temple the center of our spiritual strength.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Because bound has so much weight to it, right? Like if someone is duty bound, it's not a suggestion, it's a deep commitment.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah.
It's about aligning our lives with those sacred promises we make in the temple.
Okay.
It's about letting those covenants influence our thoughts, our actions, our interactions with everyone.
So we're not just trying to be temple worthy for an hour on a Tuesday night.
Right.
We're taking that temple perspective and letting it shape how we interact with the world, even when it's hard.
Yes. And Elder Soares is very clear that this temple perspective changes how we approach everything.
Okay.
Like, we can't walk out of the temple and then hold on to anger or negativity. It just doesn't work.
It's like a constant reminder that our actions, our words, our thoughts, they all matter.
Right.
They either build up that covenant confidence or chip away at it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're actively cultivating this covenant confidence.
Okay.
We're approaching temple worship with intentionality and preparation.
Okay.
But there's one key part left.
Yeah.
How do we actually live this out in the real world?
Right. Because it can't just be this abstract idea. It has to translate into our daily lives.
Yes.
How does Elder Soares suggest we do that?
That's where it gets really practical.
Okay.
He offers some really tangible examples.
Yeah.
He talks about how bringing that temple perspective into our homes can be like a game changer.
Okay.
It's like we're so careful to be respectful and loving in the temple. But what about when we walk out those doors?
Right.
Are we treating our families with that same level of care?
So it's not about being fake nice.
Right.
It's about recognizing that holiness to the Lord applies everywhere.
Yes.
Not just within church walls.
Yeah.
It makes you think,
Yeah.
if we're constantly striving for that temple standard,
Right.
even in those small everyday interactions,
Yeah.
that's going to have a ripple effect.
Exactly. And he's not just talking about outward actions.
Okay.
He's talking about changing how we view ourselves
Oh, yeah.
and others because of the covenants we've made.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we are all children of God,
Yeah.
deserving of love and respect,
Right.
regardless of our flaws or differences.
That's a powerful shift in mindset.
It is.
And it makes me wonder, does covenant confidence mean we never doubt
Right.
or struggle? Because that feels unrealistic.
Yeah, you've hit on a really crucial point.
Right.
He actually addresses that directly.
Okay.
He reminds us that even with that deep confidence,
Yeah.
Life will still throw curveballs.
Right.
We'll still experience disappointments, setbacks,
Right.
even moments of questioning.
Okay.
But that's where the anchor analogy comes in.
Right. It's not that the storms disappear,
Right.
but that we have something to hold on to during the storm. It's about trusting in something bigger than ourselves,
Yeah,
even when things are tough.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not a passive trust.
Okay.
It's an active choice to live in alignment with those covenants,
Yes.
to seek guidance from the Spirit, and let that confidence inform our choices.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on covenant confidence,
Yeah.
what's the key takeaway you hope our listener walks away with?
I want them to understand that covenant confidence isn't just like a nice idea.
Yeah.
It's a force.
Okay.
It's something that can truly transform us from the inside out,
Yeah.
helping us become better people, better disciples,
Right.
even when life gets messy.
It's like that saying, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yeah,
Maybe covenant confidence is the compass that keeps us heading in the right direction.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's about continually striving to become more like Christ,
Yeah.
trusting in his promises, and letting that guide our actions.
And on that note, I think we've given our listener plenty to ponder.
We have.
Thanks for diving into this with me.
My pleasure.
Until next time.
Yes, until next time.